bad, give you bad. The other thing is that you need to address areas for improvement. Discuss the areas where the speaker can improve. The keyword is where they can improve. I'm not saying discuss how stupid they are or how fake their speeches were. I know sometimes as adjudicators, we get carried away, but it's not advisable to do that. Because I remember when I was starting, actually starting during adjudication, when I was still blundering, I made a blunder and I told some students, I told them, have you guys really come for nationals? Because their speeches were not good, but my sort of criticism was not even the best way of approaching them. And up to now, some of the speakers, one of them had ever reached out to me and they told me that that statement did not do them well. And I had to really apologize for how it came out. Sometimes you don't intend it to come out that way. So it is why this training is very important. Maybe I did not get this training. I did not know that your particular sort of feedback, you need to provide specific examples from the speaker's performance to help you support your feedback. Now, the other thing you want to do is that you want to address areas for improvement. So what do you do with that? You are also specific about what they can do differently next time to enhance their performance. Now, after you are done with that, the other thing you want to do is to encourage growth. You need to encourage the speaker to view feedback as an opportunity for growth and improvement. You tell them that today I have been your judge, but keep listening to the judges in your different rooms. They will guide you on what you have not been doing well and on how you can improve. So, ladies and gentlemen, this session is being streamed live on YouTube. My session in particular, but Miriam Rioba had network problems. For those that may have just joined us, she was only with us for close to 45 minutes before the rain began to rain in Kenya and the ancestors began to rain lightning down on every Wi-Fi router within the city. So she's going to be available for us on 21st, just after the last day. That will be on Monday, and everything will be quite well. So what I'm doing right now is to take us through a quick step-by-step way of giving personal feedback. My session is going to be a little bit shorter because it began at around 9:10, and we're supposed to finish by 10. So I'm trying my level best to finish as fast as possible. Now, the other thing you want to do, the seventh step, is that you want to listen and respond. Allow the speaker to respond to your feedback. Tell them, do you have any comments on what I have said? You are not the alpha and omega. You do not assume knowledge about everything. So you allow the speaker to respond to your feedback and ask any follow-up questions that they may have. You need to listen actively and address any concerns as they rise. Now, the last part is that you want to end on a positive note. You need to end the feedback session on a positive note, reaffirming the speaker's strengths and expressing confidence in their ability to improve. Trust me, even if their speech was really bad, like the one Hashim has been able to give us an hour ago, you still have to end on a positive note. It is important. You need to know that your role as an adjudicator is a two-way role. Apart from guiding them on how to become better speakers, you are also a role model to them. You are a potential role model to the young ones. They need to be able to learn from you. So you need to end on a positive note. You need to leave that relationship open. Some adjudicators I've worked with, some that have been in the space more than me, some have been chief adjudicators, some of them had never learned the art of being sincere in their language. Some are very brutally honest, and we call it brutally honest, but to a speaker, it is brutally demoralizing. You want to cover up that honesty in a certain way. It does not take anything away from you. So just a quick going through of this, a step-by-step guide to giving personal feedback. The very first thing you want to do is to prepare. I will highlight it on the screen. Prepare your notes. Before giving feedback, have a good look at your notes. See what you're going to tell them. Review your notes and reflect on the speaker's performance. Remember what they said. Did they use a prop? Have you left out anything? And by doing this, you are able to identify what to start with. The other thing is the setting. The setting is very important. You need to find a quiet and maybe private space to talk to the speaker. And I'm not talking about secluded places to do bad things, but rather a place that is not within the other speakers where they will not hear them and where they don't feel like they are being embarrassed or humiliated. That is why some speakers, even when you give general feedback and say, does anyone have any question, they'll not put up their hands. But if you say that in case you have personal feedback, after general feedback, you can reach out to me. You will see a long line of like up to 8 speakers. And then you say, hey, what's up, guys? I thought you didn't have anything to ask. It is because sometimes they are embarrassed to ask. So you need to find the right setting. This setting helps you to have a more focused and meaningful conversation with the speaker when giving them their feedback. And when giving feedback, you want to start positively. You want to begin by highlighting what the speaker did well. What are their strengths? What are they blessed with? You could tell them you are blessed with a strong voice, and I know that can go a long way if you try these few things. Encourage them. You start on a positive note. Tell them what they have done right. And even when you're telling them what they have done right, you want to be specific. Provide specific examples from the speaker's speech to support your feedback. For your feedback to be meaningful, you need to provide specific examples from the speaker's performance to support your feedback. You want to tell them that you came and talked to us about this and this example, but the way you brought it out with your tone did not seem to reflect what the task requires of you. So when you start positively, the whole time you need to be specific. Then you need to address the areas for improvement. You don't just start positively and keep praising them. Oh, your speech was beautiful. It was marvelous. It was cantankerous. You don't become Mr. Fred. Is it Fred in midday? The one who says those big words. After praising how good they are, you need to address their areas for improvement. You need to discuss the areas where the speaker can improve. And you focus on actionable suggestions. You don't tell them that you need to improve on your tonality, yet you're not even showing them how tonality is done. Even your particular feedback must have actionable suggestions. They must have something they can put within action that they can be able to learn. So you need to be specific about what they can do differently next time to be able to enhance their particular performance. Still, under talking to them, you need to encourage growth. You need to encourage the speaker to view feedback as an opportunity to improve. And you need to tell the speaker to always seek out feedback from the other judges who may be in their rooms as the tournament goes on. And after you are done speaking, you want to listen to what they say. Allow them to respond to your feedback and allow them to ask any follow-up questions on where they don't understand. Listen actively and address any concerns that they might raise. And the other thing you want to do is to end on a positive note. After giving them this constructive criticism in terms of listening and responding, in terms of encouraging growth, in terms of addressing areas for improvement, you want to end on a positive note. You want to tell them that, you want to reaffirm it to them that they have certain strengths. You need to express your confidence you have in their future ability. Tell them that you are still young, especially if you notice that they're like in Form 2 and they're really young. Tell them, hey, I think, which class are you in? Because Form 2, you're like, wow, for a Form 2 speaker, I think that is enthrallingly good. And I would argue that you're going to have a very big future ahead of you. Don't give up on public speech. Even if you don't win this competition, you will win others. And one day you remember me that I told you you would win. You are a champion. Something that keeps them encouraged. You end on a positive note. That is how we give feedback on a step-by-step basis. So one thing I'm going to be able to repeat unto us today is that before you even learn how to give personal feedback to speakers, you must be in position to have prepared yourself. In preparation, pre-competition preparation as a speaker or as an adjudicator, is that you need to familiarize yourself with the tournament schedule. You need to know when is the first round starting, at what time do I have to be there before that first round starts, and when does the chief adjudicator want me on the venue. You need to also familiarize yourself with the tasks, understand the tasks yourselves, understand what the speakers have to be able to present unto you. And you also need to dress up in the right way. Even during the competition, you want to actively listen to each speech. and you want to take detailed notes and apply the evaluation criteria consistently and objectively. This will be able to help you avoid distractions and focus on providing fair and accurate evaluations. And you should always seek out post-competition feedback. You yourself from the CA, what did I do right? What should I improve? You could also seek out for feedback from the speakers themselves. So to me, that is how fast I can be able to summarize to you how you can be able to give personal feedback to the judges, I mean to the speakers, and even to your fellow adjudicators. You need to be courteous. You need to do it out of courtesy. You need to be able to be honest with how you adjudicate and how you give back your feedback. This particular module is important because if you are able to understand the very first module of adjudication criteria in assessing different things such as content, delivery, and language, then you can do a good job. So within these last few seconds that I may be having, I'm just going to be taking us a little bit back, just a little bit back on content, delivery, structure, and engagement. But I'm not going to do that right now. I believe I may have another session based on how you guys do your tests, but you need to also be able to familiarize yourself with the training material we have offered unto you. If you have noticed, among the notes that were given unto you, you are given notes that actually have this particular module that talks about judging criteria and scoring. I would urge all of us to really read this particular module because it's going to make up a bigger part of your final robust assessment.
Every single thing you see here may be examinable, the types of speeches. What is structure? What are introductions? What are the different types of introductions? What is the body? What do we find in the body? How do we separate the body of a speech? What is a coherent speech? What does it mean to have clarity in speech? The things Bakari Elijah was talking about yesterday. We're going to look at different things. You need to look at the delivery evaluation,
content evaluation. You need to look at the guidelines for assigning scores, and the scoring system that are going to be using for Paragon Rhetorica is within the particular notes that were given unto you. Do well to know what content is, what is depth of research, what is originality of ideas, what is effectiveness of arguments. In delivery, what is vocal delivery, what is tonality, what is varying speech speed, what are deliberate pauses, what is non-verbal communication, and what is the overall presence. In structure, you want to know how organized is your speech, how coherent are your ideas connected together. That is what Bakari was talking about yesterday, that speech needs to sound seamless, that it is really soon put together, and it makes a perfect sort of story for the particular audience. Another thing is to do with engagement. What is your connection with the audience, and what is your overall impact of everything else? So with that, this particular session is about to come to an end. I just hope every one of us has been able to understand, at least for the starter basis of it, under adjudication processes, what is and how do you give personal feedback to particular speakers. I don't want to speak everything because Miriam Yoba will be back on 21st to re-enunciate whatever I have been able to say and to be able to go through the other aspects that I've left out intentionally because they have to be covered later on. So she's going to come on 21st, and we shall have to postpone the day for the evaluation. So evaluation is supposed to be from 21st to 22nd, but we shall do from 22nd to 23rd. Yeah, so Richard Osauro asks, shall it be possible for that whole guide to be posted on the platform? I mean the manual. Yes, Richard, the manual in and of itself, as I show it to you right now, this is the actual soft copy, the original copy that we were able to draft at the Debate Institute of Africa, and it has not yet been branded fully. So this is like the rough work you can find on a computer, the actual original copy. So what you can have right now, you can't have this manual before it is branded, but what can happen is that you are able to access this with the notes that were given to you. So you check those links where the notes are, you'll find notes on a step-by-step feedback process. All those notes you see are excerpts gotten from this very, very big manual. And the manual is only 28 pages. So try to read those notes, Richard. Everything is there. Rest assured, everything is within the notes. Debate Institute Africa really organized everything wholly, and this whole program was well organized and well evaluated before it was actually even sent out to start. Anyway, I just want to look at any other questions that any other person could have. Okay, someone is saying, but most of them are pre-survey tests. This is Anthony Munduku. Wow. This only means that the notes that were shared have not been seen by the people who had to see them. Yeah, thank you, Joseph. All right. So, Anthony Muduku, if you are able to look at the chat space right now, you can see David has posted those links once again. I mean, Joseph has posted those links once again. Where you see module 1, those are notes that are an excerpt from our manual for module 1. Where you see module 2, those are notes too. Module 3, those are notes. Module 4, those are notes. And module 5, those are notes. So, Anthony, you could use that. Richard, you could also use that. The different modules, because if you look at this entire manual, I can just show you the table of contents. It's just full of those modules. Module 1 is their introduction to public speaking adjudication. Module 2 is judging criteria and scoring, adjudicator ethics and professionalism, adjudication processes and procedures, and special topics in adjudication. All of those are the 5 modules that Joseph has been able to post on the chat space. And today's module is module 4 based on the links. So be sure to have a look at that. So Angel Wilson is saying, what stood out for me the most was the step-by-step feedback delivery. Yeah, thank you so much for that. But as I told you, just you were able to find Miriam here. She had already begun her session, only got off after 40 minutes. What is going to happen is that she's going to have another session with us on the 21st, and you will be able to learn more. I have intentionally not mentioned everything, just to leave her with what she can actually talk about. She has a lot to offer. She has vast experience, even bigger than my own, way bigger. Experience spans to over a decade, and the next sessions will pretty much be very enjoyable. Okay, Maury says, I request that the link should also be shared in the group. So TJ Goodsir, could you help me just copy and paste those module notes in the group so that everyone else can be able to see them and to be able to access them? Nonetheless, I would like to take any questions or any comments when it comes to step-by-step feedback evaluation to be given to speakers. If you have forgotten everything that I've said, at least remember the sandwich method. And the sandwich method is that you begin on a good note, then in between, you tell them what they have to improve on. That is like the constructive criticism. And then down there, you end on a good note too. Begin with what they did well. Next thing you do is, what do they need to improve? And lastly, encourage them. That is like the whole idea of feedback. And like I told you guys at the very start, in your different modules, in the introduction modules, the starter class had a class with Martha Angela. They also had a class with Wangusa. Everyone has been communicating the same thing, that for you to become a good adjudicator, you need to become a good communicator. You need to be able to transfer your ideas or your thought process to the speakers. They need to be able to understand what you are saying. The goal is that speakers come for our tournament or they come for a ParagonTorica tournament and they do not leave the same. They live, changed, and improved. You are within the particular line of being a role model to these particular students. So we are doing our best to have this training given unto you. And based on how you do evaluation, your final robust evaluation is going to have everything from the introduction, every single module, 5 modules, will create 5 sections for you to be able to answer on. And you'll also have a practical session whereby you'll be able to judge 2 speeches. So what happens is that you will give feedback to these particular speakers and the whole test will be timed. So you need to find a day between 22nd and 23rd to really sit down, get your juice, get your coffee, get caffeinated, and start to attempt that robust assessment. It's going to have pretty much every single thing. Nonetheless, for those that will be able to prosper at that, we shall say to them that the Bible says, no weapon fashioned against you shall prosper, and they shall be able to be certified finally. So that assessment, many may fail. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to send emails that have dear sir or madam. We write to unfortunately inform you, something like that, or we ungratefully said this to you, something like that. We want to get you an email that has your certification and everything is okay. So unless there are any further questions from me to you guys, I would like us to end the session right now, and then we could actually have a good night and proceed on to do our other activities. So our next session is tomorrow, the 19th, and we're going to have David Adungo Onyogo take us through the special processes, the special topics in public speech, and he will also be able to take us through the special tasks that we have for Paragon Rhetorica. After that, we shall have a session by our very good person, Watch Gracious Faith, and she'll be taking us through the child protection policy and the rules and regulations of tournaments and when working with Debate Institute Africa. Nonetheless, on 21st, we shall have Miriam Yoba's session that had to happen today, and we shall be able to close off these classes. So from me to you guys, have a very good night. You are free to go. Thank you. Okay, my good people.